Hey Star Wars fans, TheBudgetJedi here with my first collaboration with Sith Lord 229. I got this cool project I want to share with you guys. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I wanted to make a display for one of my favorite comic packs that you see here, the Visionaries 2-pack. Just give you guys a look at the actual packaging here. Alright, for those of you that don't know, this pack was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive in 2009, and it's got two figures inside. The Cyborg Maul and Owen Lars, who is actually a very movie-accurate Owen Lars, as you can see there. Okay, give you guys a look at the little paragraph there. It's got the Visionaries comic book, which came out in 2008. And here's what it looks like inside here. Now, before I start, I am going to give you guys a look at the actual story in the comic book itself. So a little bit of a spoiler alert here. But first, let me mention, if you can see there, the two figures. If you can't see it well, these are the figures. This is what it looks like. If you haven't seen a review on these, please check out the link on the page. These are some of the best figures I've ever seen Hasbro make. And that is what Owen Lars looks like. Very nice 2-pack. So here is the comic book itself, okay? Basically, we know that Darth Maul was cut in half by Obi-Wan from The Phantom Menace. And this story picks up years after that, when Luke was sort of a small child still growing up. And this whole story is set at the Lars Homestead on Tatooine. And so, to make a long story short, Cyborg Maul comes in out of nowhere, attacks Lars as well as Obi-Wan, who then jumps in to try to save him. And that is what Cyborg Maul looks like. So this is, in 2009, was when I found out that Cyborg Maul, or Darth Maul I should say, is not dead yet. And you know, this was the first story that came out officially. Now, somewhere in the middle of the fight, Cyborg Maul kicks Obi-Wan, as you can see there, in the air, and Obi-Wan lands on the land speeder, which then makes that dent on the front hood, as well as breaks off the cover on one of the jet engines, which is pretty cool, because in episode 4, when you see the land speeder with the damages, that's what it looks like. So I thought that was a nice touch that the writers put in. Anyway, that's the basis of this display that I wanted to make, was the fight scene between Cyborg Maul and Obi-Wan. I've been really wanting to put Cyborg Maul in the display because I don't really play with him. And as you guys can see here, it's based or it's set at the Lars Homestead, which is actually another playset that I've wanted to own but I do not own. But I think that for the street value of about $50 or $60, it's a little bit too expensive for me, you know, because the figures are a little bit outdated, and the pretty much the only thing you're buying really is the Lars Homestead itself. So I'm going to try to attempt to make my own Lars Homestead today. Alright guys, from the little research that I did, it seems that the Lars Homestead is not that big of a hut. It's actually a little bit taller than a person in real life. What I have here at my disposal that I'm going to use is, first of all, I have a hamster ball here. I used this in a previous diorama, so I am looking forward to recycling this. I've got a whole bunch of cardboard as usual. I've got masking tape, and best of all here, new material that I'm going to use is spackling. Now, spackling is perfect to make a sort of sandy finish. I learned this from Matt Wobuz and E the Angel 2220's previous Tatooine dioramas. Alright, I actually found some leftover foam here that I used to make the base of the Lars Homestead. As you can see here, I just taped it in a big circular form. And I put some masking tape here so I can put plaster all over it later. And here goes the hamster ball. just right in there. So that's the basic shape. Now we're going to work on the doors, and for that I'm just going to use cardboard. And so what I've done here is drawn it over and over again. It's basically cut out each of the parts and then stack them right on top of each other. Okay, just to show you what I've done here, I've basically cut out 5 different layers of the door, glued them together. They didn't need to be really exactly the same size, as long as they kind of look good enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that with masking tape. This is what it looks like when you take the door piece that I've made and put masking tape on it. Masking tape is a real savior. So what I'm planning to do is basically just line it up there and put a piece of cardboard, you know, right on top of it, just to cover the rest of the area there, and then just put a bunch of masking tape all around it, and it should look like this. So as you can see, I finished off one side just to get the basic shape of it before I put all the spackling on there. And you know, it's not perfect, it just needs to be good enough. Look at that hamster ball. Alright, check it out guys, I've put on all the 3 doorways, and I'm right now putting some spackle on sort of the leftover areas where I think you might see some holes here and there. As the spackling is drying up, wanted to give you a quick look around of my little Lars Homestead. Again, this is a combination of foam, cardboard, hamster ball, and a lot of masking tape and some spackling. Alright guys, check it out. Here's the display. Very happy about this. I know it's a bit tight, but that's how I like my displays, as you know. Some of you know. It's got to fit on my shelf, otherwise it's not worth it. But I am just so excited to be using these figures. They don't really fit with my other, you know, OTC figures, and you know I mostly care about original trilogy figures, but in this case I'm happy to be using these really cool figures, and the vintage collection land speeder that I just got this past year. So I'm really excited that we're using that. Of course, a big thank you to Sith Lord 229, who helped me a lot with just tips and knowledge from his experience. I put a link on the page of a Mos Eisley neighborhood. That's right, I said neighborhood diorama that Sith Lord 229 actually did a long time ago, and you guys gotta check it out. I think for Tatooine buildings, foam works out best. That's what he used, which is I think it's also called styrofoam, and you can see the quality of the work in Sith Lord 229's buildings. And you know, if had I some foam, I would have used that, but I just wanted to, you know, use a lot of the cardboard that I had, as well as my hamster ball. And for a while I was actually starting to put too much work into it. You know, I was asking Sith Lord 229 Steve that what type of sandy material I can use to make it look like the desert, because I wanted to avoid using sand. And he just said, you know, use anything brown. And I realized then, by keeping it simple, it worked. As you can see here, I used brown paper, you know. So, and you know, I've always wanted my own Lars Homestead. So there it is. And someday I will probably try to make that, you know, step down in there when I have time, if I feel like it. But for now, I mean, this, including drying time, this project took about 2 days. So I'm sort of just done with it. Now, what's awesome about having a Lars Homestead is it's usable for so many other scenes. Here's an example of what I can do with my Lars Homestead diorama, which is basically the disturbance at Lars Homestead scene, which is slightly depressing, but still a cool little diorama to make. Here's another cool one you can do with the Lars Homestead. It's just Luke looking yonder to the two suns or two moons. Kind of a simple diorama, but you know, it's nice. It brings you back to the New Hope movie. Between all these little possibilities that I can do with the diorama, this can, you know, I can squeeze out many months of display for that. So, but back to the Visionaries comic pack, I think that this is probably the most exciting thing you can do with a Lars Homestead diorama. So yeah, I'm really happy again to be doing this. And you know, as you can see here, I've got Cyborg Maul fighting Obi-Wan. I'm using Obi-Wan's old head with a younger body. So that's sort of the way it was portrayed in the comic book. And of course, Owen Lars is down on the ground, you know, because he just got his head whacked by Cyborg Maul. I'm not gonna give away too much of the story, but pretty much Obi-Wan saves the day. Anyway guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it didn't run too long, but constructive criticism is always welcome. And thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video.